Greetings, YouTube. Wow, it is a brand new year and I'm doing something brand new too. I'm going live, baby. Can't believe I'm doing this. Well, it's a season of changes, I guess, and we're going to try some new things, and that means me. I've got to try some new things too. Today we're going to lead off with talking about a topic I don't think I've really gone into detail about, but I think it's really important because it's something that definitely affected me. And that's how one can sexualize stress. I've got a story about this that had happened to me recently, but before I get into that, I wanted to read something from my 12-step recovery program, which is SLAA, Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. Inside of 12-step programs, they have these things called characteristics, and they're meant as a guidance for a person who walks into the room who may not know nothing about the whether they have an addiction, basically giving them cues to know whether in fact they might be in the right room and going there for the right reason. So, am I a sex and love addict? And they read these lists of characteristics. And this is number 6 that is done for SLAA. Number 6, we sexualize stress, guilt, loneliness, anger, shame, fear, and envy. We use sex or emotional dependence as substitutes for nurturing care and support. Now, when I first heard that, and then I'm going through all the other ones, but when I heard number 6, it struck home with me, right? Because I could see that in myself. I was the type of person who I had a pattern, a very specific pattern that I did every single day. I left work, I went to the liquor store, picked up some beer, waited till my daughter got to sleep, waited till my wife got to sleep, went downstairs, watched porn, and drank all night. And why did I do that? It's because I had difficulty coping with a lot of different things that were going on in my life. My daughter was sick. My job was pouring undue amounts of stress on me. And that is a pattern that I had been doing ever since I was a little boy. Ever since I had the capability of being able to find erotic and sexually explicit materials, I use that as my escape. It's the thing I was playing in fantasy zones. I wanted to just get the hell away from everything, and I carried that into my adulthood, and I really leaned on it, especially when the high-speed internet became available. So what do we know about sex addiction and its relationship to stress? Well, Dr. Patrick Carnes, who has written a lot of books on this topic and actually developed the field around it, has this way of being able to index addicts to determine, whether they in fact are addicts and what types of stress they're in. But I just wanted to read this. And forgive me, as I'm not doing editing right now, so I might make a mistake, but let's see how it goes. It is clear that for sex addicts, trauma or high stress and addiction are inexorably connected. Addiction, in its various forms, becomes a solution to the anxiety and stress of trauma. In reviewing the literature and the reports of research populations, it was determined that 8 different trauma responses are typically manifest by victims. The instrumentation called the Post-Traumatic Stress Index was developed. The following is a brief summary of the dimension of trauma. Percentages are for those for sex addicts who score high in the category. And so that have, number 1, trauma reactions, the physiological, psychological alarm for unresolved trauma experiences, the making of sex addict, page 2. Number 2, trauma pleasure, seeking or finding pleasure in present or extreme danger, violence, risk, or shame. Number 3, trauma blocking, efforts to numb, block out, or overwhelm residual feelings due to trauma. So obviously that's number 3 for me. Number 4, trauma splitting, blocking traumatic realities by splitting or disassociating from painful experiences and not integrating into personal or daily life. And I got a piece of that too. Number 5, trauma abstinence, compulsive deprivation that occurs specifically around moments of success, high stress, shame, or anxiety. Number 6, trauma shame, profound sense of unworthiness, self-hatred rooted in the trauma experience. Number 7, trauma repetition, repeating behaviors and or seeking situations or persons that recreate the trauma experience. And number 8, trauma bonding, dysfunctional attachments that occur to the presence of danger, shame, and exploitation. So as you might imagine, some of those would be more to a person that had been receiving, like, maybe sexual or psychological abuse. And that really wasn't my profile at all. However, trauma happens from different sources. Your inability to deal with stress or anxiety can be very traumatic, and trauma incidents can happen all around us. I know for me, my daughter, when she had been diagnosed with having a brain tumor, that put me through cloud 9. I had difficulties being able to really deal with that. I also had difficulties with the normal wear and tear of stress, because I had not grown up in a household that had taught me how to deal with stressors at all. So my dad's form of dealing with stress was pornography and alcohol, and I fell right into his shoes as well. I did exactly what he did, without even realizing that I was doing it. So all of these are really interesting things that happen. Let me tell you about the story that had happened to me recently. The story that happens to me is I like to play video games once in a while, and I was playing Slitherow of all things. For those who aren't familiar with that, it's a stupid online game where you've got these snakes just going around killing each other. And I was getting really frustrated because that particular day my ass was just getting kicked all over the place. And interestingly enough, after like the 3rd or 4th time of dying and me getting really frustrated, the craving just overcame me. It just completely overcame me. And because I'm well enough into my recovery now, my sobriety, that I was able to just put the pause on it and just kind of sit there and stew in it for a second and just like, wow, this really happened. I got pissed off at a video game, and then all of a sudden I craved sex. And if that is not the clear calling card of an addiction, I don't know what is. Just in your face. Wow. Stress moment, bam. All of a sudden a craving. So I'm hoping that by sharing this with you, if you happen to fall into that quadrant of sexualizing stress, you're not alone. And certainly, you can hear my story that through being sober and not being or not acting out through using pornography, that I still hit a trigger that was stress related, anxiety related, that caused the craving to happen. That's behaviorism right there. That's from years and years of me trying to put out the fire of all of my anxiety and stress using pornography. Anyway, brand new year. You get to see my face for a change, and I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep on that road to recovery.